Recovering from an injury sucks. Recovering from an injury when you can't fall asleep sucks worse. Recovering from an injury when you can't fall asleep while simultaneously being hunted by a psychopath, lackey of a dark god with a personal vendetta against you sucks even worse. But what sucks even more worse is having to do all of the above while still being called into work. As the owners put it, the new guy is a complete and total moron with willful and malicious idiocy that borders on the criminal. And so, here I am, against the doctor's advice at the shitty gas station at the edge of town. Only a little worse for wear. What's really incredible is that I've only been back for 1 day, and there's already a body count. More on that later. My right leg is in a cast from ankle to thigh. I've elected to use crutches because, unsurprisingly, the gas station is not wheelchair accessible. The cast has several signatures and messages, which is very strange because I have no memory of anybody signing it, but that could just be a result of the pain meds. Looking down now, I could see that Carlos scrawled this message: "Stay out of trouble, C." There's also a message in red crayon: "Jerry was here." A few signatures in Sharpie, a little bit further up my leg. I have to pull my pants all the way up to read this note. Richichichichich. Well, that's annoyingly cryptic. I would check the tape logs to see who got so close to my delicate area, but the owners had every camera in the place removed. I guess there's something about finding a secret room full of security camera feeds to bring personal privacy back into the public discussion. I feel like the act of removing all the security cameras was a bit of an overreaction, especially with Spencer still out there. The police took a statement and confiscated the remains of the bomb. They're taking the whole thing very seriously. An arrest warrant is out for Spencer Middleton, should he ever show up again. As for Kefir, things get a little more interesting. The police were unable to find any evidence that he ever existed. No property in his name, no driver's license, no public record of any kind. The only thing linking him to this town is a grainy old yearbook photo. It would seem Kefir was living off the grid ever since he graduated high school. Now that Spencer's attempt to blow up the gas station failed, Kefir suspended his campaign election and simply disappeared. The sheriff has been sending a new deputy, Arnold, out to check on me once or twice a day. Arnold isn't from around here, which is probably why he agreed to replace Tom as the new gas station babysitter. He's about 6'2", dark-skinned, with a mustache thick enough to plant a yard flamingo in. His eyes constantly telegraph the statement, "Knock that nonsense off," and I have yet to see him smile. I don't know if Arnold will become the next Tom or the next Spencer. Right now, he could go either way. Arnold was the one that dropped me off at work today. I'm not supposed to get behind the steering wheel for a while, which is fine, I guess. Not like I'm going on any road trips anytime soon. On the way to work, we passed an SUV with the man with the beard. One stopped in place by the side of the road with a tree growing through the engine. I asked Arnold about it. He just shrugged it off and said I shouldn't worry myself with other people's business. I asked about the owner of the vehicle, and Arnold said that he thinks he got lost somewhere in the woods, just like those hikers last fall. A search and rescue effort was underway, and he was confident that they would find him one way or another. After Arnold dropped me off today, I went about my regular shift duties. I recounted Marlborough's till, not at all surprised to see that he was somehow $150 over, or that the surplus was entirely in $1 coins. I logged all the invoices that piled up when I was out, and then I emptied the trash cans. I was hoping I might run into the cowboy, but the only thing in the men's room was an obese Hispanic trucker punishing the toilet and the surrounding air with an unholy fury that deserves its own scary story. The sun was starting to go down when I hobbled my way out to the dumpster, and probably looked like a baby deer learning how to walk. You know, if a deer were drunk and two-legged carrying several bags of garbage. Like that. The scorched earth near the dumpster was the same as I had left it, blackened down to the subsoil. Somewhere just past the start of the trees was another patch of smoldering remains. That one I neglected to mention in the police report. One that might, to the casual observer, look like the remains of a human body. Before I turned to go back in, I noticed something odd on the side of the dumpster. At first, I thought it was a child's toy, stuck to the dirt on the outside of the wall. Then I realized it was moving, breathing, crawling. and slowly eating the gooey drippings off the rest of the dumpster. The thing looked like a giant tomato caterpillar. It was about 8 inches long, and as the sun went down, I swear, I could see this thing giving off its own light source. The squishy caterpillar thing didn't seem to mind my presence. In fact, it even let me feed it an old Starburst I had in my pocket, a yellow, because like all people, I hate yellow Starburst. The critter bioluminesced a little brighter as it ate the taffy, and I gave it a gentle pet. Its hide isn't wet as it appeared. In fact, it seemed to be covered in tiny clear hairs. "You're not so bad," I said while it nibbled at the candy. "Not everything out here needs to be scary, huh?" It wiggled and crawled away to the place in the back of the dumpster with more gunk, and I went back into the gas station. Marlboro had taken up smoking again. He'd quit for a while, but then explained that the suffering he was causing himself by not smoking grossly outweighed the suffering that he caused us with the secondhand smoke. And, mathematically speaking, it didn't make sense for him to quit. I had hoped he was beginning to shed his cultist philosophy after the entire compound mysteriously vanished. But now, I'm starting to fear that he can't be rehabilitated. Oh well. Today was pretty normal. Well, not normal, but average day at the gas station. We had some strange people visit, we had some normal people visit too, and along the way, I zoned out, finished a book I'd been reading, and made some boring journal entries, and even got online to browse the internet for a while. There's another package sitting under the counter, addressed to me from a return address that I don't recognize. I took a gamble with the last package and it turned out to be something great. But that was before Spencer tried to kill me, and once again my gut is telling me not to open it. I got a phone call today, a few hours after sundown. It was pretty late, hard exactly when to say. Marlboro was asleep in the hammock in the dry storage room, and I couldn't remember the last customer. This was somewhere in that temporal wasteland between dusk and dawn. "Hello?" "Jack, listen very carefully. You don't know me. What I'm about to tell you will save your life, but only if you follow my instructions and do exactly what I say. In the drawer on your right is a pencil and paper. Get them and write this down. These rules are to your survival. 1. Do not leave the gas station. Do not go outside under any circumstances. 2. Do not drink the tap water. Don't even touch it. Don't smell it. Don't look at it. It's bottled water from here on out. 3. Don't trust your eyes. 4. Barricade the... Hang on. Where did you say the pen was?" He sighed. "In the drawer on the right." "My right or your right?" I asked. "Your right. How the hell would it be on my right? I'm on the phone." Right then, I heard a honk from a car horn. It was the old widow, Mrs. Sustrick. She's another local, somewhere in the area of 100 years old, if I had to guess, and at this point, not much more than a skeleton wrapped in ill-fitting skin, with a vibrant lipstick smeared all around the general mouth area. After her husband died, the old lady had taken to buying and collecting sports cars and oversized trucks and racing them on the outskirts of town on all hours of the night. Her most recent purchase was a brand new Ford F-550, with a painting of the Hulk in all of his green smashing glory along the side. In person, she was a sweet old lady, no taller than 4.5 feet. She wore special shoes to reach the gas pedal and always came to the gas station to fill up, because she knew I'd help her pump her gas, something she had never done before and wasn't interested in learning how to do. "One sec, I'll be right back. Miss Sistruck needs me to top her off." "Listen to me," the voice growled. "Don't go outside. You go outside, you're dead. Do you hear me?" "I hear what you're saying," as I grabbed my crutches and got ready to leave, "but I don't work for you." With that, I hung up the phone and went outside to help Miss Sistruck. Old Agatha was happy to see that I was back to work. Apparently, Marlboro made her nervous. She said she was flirting at her, and he wouldn't stop smoking while he pumped her gas. Before she left, she gave me a case of empty light beers and asked me if I would be a lamb and toss these for her. I can't say no to Agatha. When I got around back to toss the trash, I noticed something incredible. The glowworm from this morning had formed itself into an enormous cocoon against the back of the dumpster. I can't explain why exactly, but this filled me with some sort of... I don't know. What's the exact opposite of existential dread? Euphoria? Existential hope? Is that what optimism feels like? Again, I know it doesn't make any sense, but seeing the weird garbage-eating caterpillar thing begin its brave journey into transformation gave me a tingly feeling in my soul. Like it was some sort of sign. Just when the caterpillar thought its world had come to an end, it became a butterfly. My world has been feeling like it's coming in for a little while too. Little buddy, maybe I'm on the verge of a metamorphosis. Maybe the world doesn't have to be so strange and scary. Maybe it can be strange and cool. I decided that whatever hatched from the cocoon, be it a butterfly moth or a monster, I was going to name it Starburst. I hobbled myself back to the gas station and tossed one look over my shoulder at the dumpster to see that one of the raccoons was stuffing the cocoon in its mouth. It devoured the whole thing in a couple of bites before making eye contact with me and dashing off to the woods. Carlos came into the store for his late shift and asked how I was feeling. I told him that the pain was tolerable, and he nodded, like it was the kind of answer he was looking for, and I went back to reading my book. A few minutes later, the man with the beard came up to the gas station. I almost didn't recognize him as the same man that went off into the woods after the creature called an anglerfish. He lost a lot of weight. His beard wasn't nearly as well kept, and he smelled like he bathed in a tub of pee that someone farted in. "Hey," I said when he came in. "You're still alive. Cool." Did I mention that the man was holding a pistol when he walked in? The thought crossed my mind for the briefest moment that I wondered what happened to his big gun. I didn't have time to ask. He quickly found the locks on the door and used them, then covered the short distance in my register. Gun extended, aimed at my face. "I told you not to go outside. You're lucky to be alive," he screamed before grabbing the store phone and yanking it off the wall. He threw it on the ground with a loud, satisfying smash and asked, "Who else is in the building?" "Well, let me see," I said, thinking. "There's you, me, probably the other cashier, unless he went into town again." I saw the other car out there. Toyota. That yours? "Nope, that's gotta be Carlos." Right on cue, Carlos walked out from the back in the frozen sight of the bearded man, pointing the gun at my face. Carlos might have been tempted to take action if he hadn't been carrying a 50-pound bag of corn over his shoulder. Instead, he just raised his free hand and softly said, "Hey man, we don't want no trouble here. If you're after the cash, go ahead and take it. Ain't no heroes here." The bearded man laughed in an obnoxious way and said, "Well, there's gotta be one. My name's Benjamin, and I'm here to save your sorry asses." Carlos and I made eye contact. A lot can be conveyed in just an instant if you know the person you're looking at. He was trying to see what I wanted to do. I was trying to tell him to relax. This was neither the worst nor the weirdest thing to happen in this room. "Okay," I said. "What do you need us to do, Benjamin?" "There is something evil under this gas station. Nobody is leaving here till I understand what it is. Because I know that someone is working with the thing. I've seen it in my dreams. I know you have too." Well, he was wrong about that one. Right then, Marlboro walked out of the storage closet, stretching and yawning. Benjamin snapped him into a chokehold before we knew what was going on and jammed the gun against his head. "Are you listening to me?" Benjamin screamed. "I just told you that the world is just a facade. There's a devil here. One of you is working for him." I just shrugged and said neat. Right then, Marlboro surprised the pants off of everyone, half yelling, half laughing. "Let's do this. I'm not afraid to die," before reaching up to the gun pressed against his head, pulling the trigger. I've seen a lot of weird stuff working at this shitty gas station. Nearly been killed once or twice. I've watched the same guy die over and over in front of me. I've seen things that may or may not be real, because I can't dream, and sometimes if my mind is making up for it in other ways. I've seen a ball of lightning, people with blue skin, a man with two heads, a talking dog, an Elvis impersonator that may have been a little too convincing. I've seen such weird stuff in that room, but this is the first time I've ever saw a look of surprise like that on anybody's face, and it was absolutely priceless. "What? What the hell is wrong with you people?" Benjamin said, backing away from us. "Ain't nothing wrong with us," said Marlboro, relieved to be free from a headlock. "What the hell is wrong with your gun?" "How did you know I was out of ammo?" "I didn't." There was a loud thud as Carlos dropped the sack of corn. He was next to talk. "I think maybe you should get out of here, pal, while you still can." "I'm afraid I can't do that," Benjamin responded. "Not until that thing is dead. Not until I..." There's a wet thunk before I saw anything. Before Benjamin went limp and hit the ground. My eyes caught up to the situation. I hoped that I was seeing a hallucination. But the look of fear on Carlos's face told me that this wasn't the case. The man standing behind Benjamin, holding a bloodied shovel, the man that just saved our bacon, was smiling a toothy, delighted smile. The only thing he ever did, after inflicting the kind of pain he just inflicted. "Hey, Jack," said Spencer Middleton. "You miss me?" He then stuck Carlos a Marlboro in the walk-in freezer. Marlboro is, and always has been, a go-with-the-flow kind of guy, so he went voluntarily into the freezer. Carlos put up a fight, which is why he ended up bruised and bloody, barely clinging to consciousness. From what I could see, Benjamin looked like he might be dead. At best, he was out cold, slowly spreading a pool of his own blood. Spencer pulled up a couple of chairs out of storage, placed them both in front of the cash register facing one another. He made me hobble over and sit down in one. Then he spun around and sat backwards in the other, like some sort of cool 90s school teacher. "I just want you to know," he said. "I'm not mad at you, and neither is he. He just wanted me to relay that message." Spencer's face still had specks of blood on it from where he had beaten the shit out of Carlos. "Your boss?" I said. "Yeah. He was upset at you for what you did to Kefir. He wanted me to show you what happens to bad children. You were supposed to meet him, but that got all cocked up, huh?" "I guess it just wasn't my time to die," I answered. That's when the smile faded from Spencer's face. He shook his head at me and said, "Die? No. You weren't supposed to die. You can't die. We need you." I saw some movement behind Spencer, but I tried not to break eye contact. It was Benjamin. And he was alive. And right now, my best shot at getting out of this. Regaining consciousness, but not making any noise. I tried to keep Spencer distracted. "Your boss. Tell me more about him. How did he find you? Who is he?" Spencer chuckled. "Oh, he's got a lot of names. You'll meet him soon enough. And this time, we will not be interrupted. And my friends? I don't care. They can join us. They can die. It makes me no difference. By the way, Jack, I wanted to ask, did you guys ever figure out who placed the bomb?" I laughed softly. "Yeah, the police took it. They know it was you. They know everything. Well, almost everything. Okay, in the grand scheme of things, they know very little, but they do know you tried to kill me and put a bomb in the gas station." Spencer shook his head again. "Wrong on both accounts. If I wanted you dead, you'd be dead. And a bomb? Seriously? Not my style." I think he had more to say to me, but I'll never know. Because right then, Benjamin yanked his head back and swiped a knife the size of a large chihuahua across his neck, neatly slicing his head halfway off. Blood erupted from a couple of spurts, then stopped. Spencer Middleton was no more. "That's what you get," taunted Benjamin as he flung Spencer's lifeless body on the floor, his blood pouring out mixing with the rest. I guess it's gonna suck for whoever has to clean all this up. When we opened up the freezer, we found Marlboro had gone all bad nurse on Carlos, sticking clumps of frozen meat all over his face for the swelling. I made us a fresh pot of coffee and we took seats at the table by the window, just in case nosy passerbys decided to pass by. We put a tarp over Spencer and moved the wet floor sign next to it. For about a half hour we talked. We just drank coffee in a pregnant silence. When we were all done with our third cups, Carlos finally spoke. His jaw was swollen to hell, but he was still able to pronounce his words with minor difficulty. "So, why haven't we called the cops yet? This was clearly self-defense, and I've got the face to prove it." "Yeah," Benjamin said after some lengthy deliberation. "Let's call them. That would be good. But tomorrow, me and you need to have a serious talk, Jack." I called Arnold from the only phone in the building with any reception, Spencer's cell. The deputy listened to what I told him, and just the most basic, simplified version of what happened that night. He said he would be on his way right after he got out of bed and put some clothes on. I called the owners next. They were not very happy. They said next time I should call them first. Next time. Right now, the others are at their booth, staring out the window, and I'm sitting at my laptop documenting the night while the memories are still fresh. I know this isn't over yet. I think the gas station is going to have to close for a day or two. But when it opens again, I'll be here, writing my journals, doing my best to ignore anyone who walks through those doors. I guess that means this is to be continued.